Head held high, Agatha marched back into the castle, eager for her wedding lessons now and determined to do her very best. That is, until she found out who was teaching them. Tedros, how not to throw a coronation. Though he had no time for himself, no time for Agatha, no time at all, Tedros refused to get soft. In his knee-length black socks and cut-off breeches, he snuck through the dark, muggy halls of Gold Tower, a towel slung over his bare, tanned chest. He knew it was vain and obsessive, this getting up at 4:30 to exercise, but it felt like the only thing left he could actually control, because at 6 on the dot, Lady Grimling and 4 male stewards would march into his room, and from that moment until he lodged back into bed at night, he was no longer in charge of his own life. He passed Agatha's room, tempted to sleep in and wake her up, but he had gotten in trouble for that last night and he didn't need any more trouble. His kingdom was already on the verge of revolt. That's why he had ceded Lady Grimling total control over the castle. As Arthur's one steward, she was a known face and gave people faith that the new king would be well managed. But there was another reason he would let Lady Grimling keep him on a tight leash, one he would never say out loud. Tedros didn't trust himself as king. He needed someone like Lady Grimling who could watch his every move, who would track his every decision. If he had only listened to her at the coronation, none of this would have happened. But he was listening to her now, because if there was one thing he knew, it was that there could be no more mistakes. Last night had already been a serious blunder. Lady Grimling had warned him not to repeat his father's errors and let a girl interfere with his duties as king. Tedros took this warning seriously. Up until yesterday, he had done well to concentrate on his tasks and let Agatha concentrate on hers, even if it meant he had had more freedom to see Agatha as school than he had now as king in his own castle. But then he had gone and snuck into her room that tired, defenses down, and acted like a sniffling child. Tedros cringed, replaying the moments in his head. He had brought Agatha to Camelot away from everyone and everything she knew, and he wanted her to feel safe and taken care of. He couldn't let her see how weak and scared that he was. He couldn't let her see that all he wanted to do was run away with her, to hold her tight and shut the world out. But that's exactly what he had done last night. And for the fleeting relief he had found in her arms, he left his future queen anxious and worried for him and his steward angry and disappointed. Stop acting like a boy, Tedros chastised himself, acts like a king. So today he lets Agatha sleep, even if it's left a big black hole in his heart. Tetros scuttled through the hall's colossal gold passage and saw wing arches, sweat sopping his wavy blonde hair, his breeches sticking to his fins. He couldn't remember the castle ever feeling this stifling. 2 mice darted past him into a hole in the plaster. A procession of ants roved around the friezes of famous knights on the wall, now damaged and missing limbs. When his father and mother were king and queen, this hall used to be minty clean, even in the august dark rooms. Now it smelled like dead cats. Down 3 flights he went, so slippery on blue goldstone, before he hustled through the gymnasium, a lavish collection of training equipment surrounded by weapons and armor from Camelot's history, enclosed in glass cases. One would assume this was Tetros' destination, but instead he scurried right through, his pure blue eyes pinned to the dusty floor, trying not to look at the large glass case in the center of the room, the one case that happened to be empty. Its place card read Excalibur. He was still thinking about that large empty case when he arrived at King's Cove, a sunken bathing pool in the burrows of the castle. When he was a young prince, this man-made grotto had flowering vines around tall piles of rock and a steaming hot waterfall. The balmy water once shimmered with 1,000 purple and pink lights from fairies who tended the pool in exchange for safe shelter at Camelot. Tetros remembered his mornings here as a child, racing the fairies around his father's statue at the center of the pool, his tiny opponents lighting up the water like fireworks. King's Cove was different now. The pool was dark and cold, the water agate green. The plants were dead, the waterfall a drip, drip, drip.